A new sculpture stands in the center of the traffic circle. Three orange steel plates rise from a concrete island. They lean at odd angles, as though a shipping container has suffered a philosophical crisis. Welded seams run along the edges. Rainwater gathers near the bolts. Cars circle it all day, their drivers glancing at the object for half a second before returning their attention to the bakery, the pharmacy, or the sedan drifting suspiciously across the lane. The city calls the sculpture a meditation on connection and movement. The residents call it the giant cheese grater. Children have invented several other names, none suitable for the city council minutes. Nobody gathers beside it. Nobody feels drawn to touch the metal or study its shapes. Nobody brings a visitor there and says, "This is part of who we are." The artist lives 3 states away. He has no known connection to the town. He did not grow up near its river, attend its schools, marry in its churches, work in its factories, or bury anyone in its graveyard. He arrived with a proposal, a portfolio, and the rare ability to describe tilted steel in the dialect of municipal grant writing. The object costs more than most residents earn in a year. There it stands. Modern public art often resembles a houseguest invited by a committee and endured by the family. It occupies a prominent place, costs a surprising amount, and speaks in a dialect nobody else understands. Everyone has been told that its presence reflects well upon the household. Meanwhile, the household quietly wonders how long it intends to stay. Look at the sculpture before judging the theory behind it. The steel was cut by machines, coated with industrial paint, transported by truck, and fastened to a poured concrete base. The fabrication may have required real technical skill. The angles may have been calculated with care. Yet almost nothing in the finished object reveals the pressure of a human hand. There is no face, no inscription, no emblem, no local flower curling across the metal, no figure whose posture carries a recognizable emotion, no mark of a regional trade, no story has entered the material. Place the same sculpture outside an insurance office in Phoenix, and it would lose nothing. Move it to a hospital courtyard in Cleveland, and nothing would change. Set it beside a convention center in Dallas, and the press release could remain almost untouched. Someone would change the name of the city, alter 2 adjectives, and go home early. That interchangeability is part of the appeal. A definite image makes a definite claim. A statue of a soldier claims that courage deserves remembrance. A carved mother holding a child claims that maternity possesses public dignity. A saint, a statesman, a worker, or a local founder introduces history, judgment, gratitude, and all the arguments that follow them. An orange abstraction offers administrative shelter. It avoids inherited faith, disputed heroes, regional loyalties, and difficult questions about beauty. It communicates no belief precise enough to offend anyone. It also struggles to inspire anyone. Decorative vacancy travels well. Compare that orange sculpture with an Old English market cross. At Stow-on-the-Wold, restored panels depict the crucifixion, Edward the Confessor, the Civil War, and the wool trade. Sacred history, royal memory, local conflict, and economic life meet within one structure. The object belongs to its town because the town's life has entered its form. Elsewhere, village crosses once stood at the center of local exchange. Farmers, merchants, craftsmen, and buyers gathered beneath a sacred sign. Commerce took place within a visible moral order. The market had a center, and the center meant something. Today, commerce often floats in a parking lot between a pharmacy and a vape shop. The pharmacy promises wellness. The vape shop is called Cloud Kingdom. Civilization occasionally writes jokes too cruel for a comedian. The first standard for public art is particularity. A work should tell us why it stands here. Its material, subject, scale, and ornament should grow from the place around it. If it can be moved 500 miles without surrendering any meaning, it was never rooted deeply enough to become public memory. The trouble begins when a city commissions an answer before learning whether its people share a question. Yet the sculpture did not descend from the clouds. It passed through a process. Money was assigned. A request for proposals was written. Artists submitted designs. Consultants reviewed the applications. A selection panel compared them. Lawyers considered liability. Engineers examined the structure. Maintenance staff estimated costs. Residents may have been permitted to comment during a meeting held at 2 o'clock on a Wednesday afternoon, the traditional hour at which public participation goes to die. Every stage has a defensible purpose. Cities should consider safety. They should understand maintenance. They should prevent a bronze cavalry horse from falling onto a bus stop. Taken together, though, these stages often reward the proposal least likely to trouble the people signing the forms. Every patron leaves fingerprints on the art, even when the patron wears 12 name badges. The Medici commissioned paintings, sculptures, chapels, and buildings that announced dynastic greatness. The Church commissioned images meant to teach doctrine and order attention towards sacred things. Trade guilds funded altarpieces connected to their crafts and patron saints. These patrons possessed strong convictions about subject, material, beauty, and meaning. Their demands could burden an artist. Patronage has never been a garden of pure artistic freedom. Yet the burden gave the work a public purpose. The artist knew what the painting was for, whom the chapel served, what story the figures carried, and where the finished work would stand. The modern committee often seeks something else. It seeks procedural safety. The winning proposal must survive review. It must remain within budget. It should carry an approved social message without expressing that message so clearly that anyone can object to it. It should create little legal exposure and photograph well for the annual report. The finished object resembles the process that selected it: costly, bloodless, and surrounded by paperwork. Even federal arts guidance has found it necessary to remind administrators that the public comes first in public art. The sentence sounds too obvious to require repetition, yet officials keep repeating it, much as signs beside fountains keep reminding adults not to drink blue water. The real question concerns authority. Experts have a proper role. Engineers should judge structural safety. Conservators should study weathering. Artists should discuss composition and technique. Craftsmen understand materials in ways that a public vote cannot duplicate. Residents possess another kind of authority. They must live beside the finished object. It enters their route to work, their civic square, their children's memories, and the background of local ceremonies. They should have genuine power over the subject and meaning of anything placed permanently within their common space. Expertise deserves a seat at the table. It should not own the building and charge everyone else admission. This division of authority has been obscured by prestige. The artist receives a commission and a new entry in his portfolio. Consultants receive contracts. Officials acquire the glow of cultural seriousness. Architects obtain photographs. Arts administrators gain another completed project. Residents receive the object itself. They pass it every morning for 30 years. When residents dislike the work, cultural officials may treat that dislike as evidence of the work's daring importance. Confusion becomes proof of sophistication. Resentment becomes proof that the sculpture has provoked dialogue. By this measure, a broken parking meter is one of the great artistic achievements of the age. Richard Serra's tilted arc remains the clearest American example. In 1981, the federal government installed a long, curving wall of weathered steel in Federal Plaza in New York. It stood roughly 12 feet high and stretched across much of the space. Serra designed the work for that exact site. Its size and position forced pedestrians to alter their movement through the plaza. The encounter was part of the artwork. Office workers experienced the encounter every day. Many hated it. They said the wall divided the plaza, obstructed familiar paths, attracted graffiti, and damaged the ordinary use of the space. A public hearing followed. Serra fought its removal, arguing that moving the work would destroy it because the sculpture was inseparable from its location. He was right about his own artistic premise. The workers were right about their plaza. The failure occurred before the steel was removed. Administrators had installed a confrontational work among people who had never agreed to spend their working lives being confronted by it. Tilted Arc exposed a basic conflict over ownership. Did the artist possess moral authority over the site because he had created a significant work for it? Did the government possess authority because it owned the property? Did the people who crossed the plaza every day possess authority because their habits gave the space its civic life? A healthy public culture would have addressed those questions before installation. Instead, the sculpture became a trial of strength. The artist defended artistic control. Workers defended ordinary use. Administrators defended the decision until defending it became more troublesome than reversing it. The wall was dismantled in 1989. The case still attracts argument because both sides touched a truth. Art should challenge habit at times. A city cannot reduce every question of beauty to an opinion poll. Great works often require patience before affection grows. Yet a serious artistic culture cannot survive by treating public dislike as an illness suffered by the public. If citizens must possess graduate training before they can respond correctly to the objects in their own square, the square has become a classroom in social rank. Obscurity can serve as a class marker. The informed viewer knows how to react. He recognizes the artist, understands the theory, and speaks the curatorial language. Everyone else wonders why a rusted wall costs more than a row of houses. Their confusion reveals that they are outsiders. Contempt for them then replaces persuasion. This arrangement flatters the professional class. It ruins public art. The answer is not to demand that every sculpture resemble a beloved grandfather or a golden retriever. Art needs depth, surprise, strangeness, and discovery. The answer lies in rebuilding a shared artistic language before the commission begins. Earlier civic works often possessed that language. Consider the Market Cross at Chichester, built around the year 1500, where the city's principal streets meet. Its arches sheltered people engaged in trade. Its buttresses gave weight and order to the structure. Shields, rosettes, pinnacles, and a later clock turned daily commerce into a civic ceremony. The cross served several human needs at once. It sheltered the body. It carried memory. It rewarded the eye. It gave the city a center that could be recognized from a distance and understood up close. This union of use and beauty matters. Older civic art did not always appear as a separate object dropped into space. A fountain provided water. A market cross sheltered trade. A clock marked communal time. A memorial created a setting for grief and gratitude. Function did not excuse ugliness. Beauty did not require uselessness. American memorials often followed the same principle of legibility. At the Liberty Memorial in Kansas City, human figures embody courage, honor, patriotism, sacrifice, and memory. At the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, carved figures present recognizable virtues connected to wartime sacrifice. A visitor may debate the ideals. He may question the politics of the war or the manner of commemoration. He still understands that the monument concerns sacrifice and remembrance. That clarity allows public argument to begin. Citizens can dispute a meaning because a meaning exists. Earlier civic art commonly depicted a person, an event, a trade, a virtue, a sacred story, or a local emblem. It carried layers of symbolism, yet its basic purpose remained legible. A child could grasp something, while an old scholar could discover more. That is the standard worth recovering. Legibility joined to depth. A monument need not reveal every secret at first glance. Mystery belongs to beauty. Yet a resident should be able to answer 4 elementary questions without enrolling in a seminar. Why does this stand here? What does it honor? How does it belong to this place? What kind of person does it ask us to admire? Those questions are political because public beauty teaches. Every courthouse, fountain, school, and monument tells citizens what their common life is worth. Materials speak. Scale speaks. Proportion speaks. Neglect speaks with a particularly clear voice. A carved fountain invites people to linger. Water catches sunlight. A child leans over the basin. An older man rests beneath the shade and watches the square. The fountain creates a small civic rhythm. People pause because the place has given them permission to pause. A dignified memorial lowers the voice. A statue of courage offers an example. A figure of grief grants public form to private sorrow. A carefully designed library suggests that learning deserves ceremony. A barren plaza teaches another lesson. Defensive benches divide the body into approved positions. Blank walls repel the eye. Narrow ledges prevent sitting. Every surface says, pass through, purchase what you require, and make no claim upon this place. Ugliness forms conduct. Beauty forms it too. A monument is a statement of power and presence in public. Stone and bronze announce which lives, events, and virtues deserve endurance. The city writes a hierarchy into space. This is why monuments produce conflict. Public memory carries moral weight. A statue never says, here is a person who happened to exist. Its presence says, remember this one. Removal carries meaning as well. So does neglect. So does the choice to build nothing. The creative class possesses a public vocation because artists give material form to what a community considers worthy of love. When artists retreat into private expression, professional theory, or corporate decoration, the public square does not remain neutral. Developers, procurement offices, traffic engineers, and safety consultants take command. The city slowly acquires the visual character of an appliance manual. Its streets still function. Water flows, elevators rise, forms are available in several languages. Yet the place offers no majesty, no emblem of greatness, no visible account of who lived there before us, or what might deserve sacrifice after we are gone. That failure cannot be blamed upon artists alone. A town cannot commission greatness from a culture that has abandoned the training needed to create it. Painting, stone carving, bronze casting, mosaic, stained glass, architectural ornament, and figurative sculpture require long study. The hand must learn obedience before it acquires freedom. Materials have laws. Stone punishes vanity faster than a critic does. The Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood offers a useful lesson. Its members formed a recognizable school through shared study, disciplined technique, historical inheritance, and mutual criticism. They argued, borrowed, competed, and pushed one another. Their art emerged from a circle of people attempting to recover a standard together. Civic art needs such circles. A town that has lost its painters, carvers, metalworkers, and ornamental designers will eventually shop for identity from a national catalog of approved contractors. The monument arrives by freight. The artist appears at the unveiling. Photographs are taken. Then everyone returns to separate cities. Public consultation alone cannot repair this. A city may hold meetings, conduct surveys, and invite comments. If residents encounter the project after officials have selected the artist and approved the concept, participation becomes theater. The public is asked to applaud a meal after the kitchen has closed. Real consent begins earlier. Start with the site. Study what happened there. Learn how people use it now. Examine the surrounding buildings and local materials. Ask whether the place carries sacred associations, industrial memory, military history, or family grief. Discover which stories older residents fear will disappear when they do. Only then should the city decide what kind of work belongs there. Residents, historians, clergy, artists, craftsmen, veterans, nearby workers, and business owners can help determine the subject before designs are requested. This group will disagree. Good. Disagreement at the beginning is far cheaper than hatred poured in concrete. Competing artists should submit physical models. People need to walk around a proposed monument, lower their eyes to the height of a child, and see how the work changes from several directions. Material samples should be available to touch. Bronze, stone, tile, and painted steel age differently. A glossy rendering can make almost anything look majestic beneath a permanent digital sunset. Artists should explain their symbols in ordinary language. Maintenance costs should appear beside the design. The proposals should remain on public display for several weeks, perhaps in the library or town hall, where residents can compare them. The public favorite may prove unsafe or impossible to maintain. A city should retain the power to reject it for sound reasons. Yet officials who reject the preferred design should explain why in words that survive outside a consultant's slideshow. Some public arts projects have begun with neighborhood leadership groups that include a community organizer, a storyteller, and a teaching artist. Meetings occur before the artwork takes form. Residents supply memories first. Artists then give those memories shape. That order matters. The people bring the story. The artist brings disciplined sight and command of material. Neither side becomes decorative. This is accountable patronage. The artist answers to the site, the subject, the craft, and the people who will inherit the finished work. Freedom from every obligation rarely produces greatness. More often it produces an invoice with angles. A town should also ask what remains after the unveiling. Suppose public money pays for a stone fountain. A master carver could lead several paid apprentices from the region. Young workers would learn how to select stone, sharpen tools, transfer a design, carve lettering, cut ornament, and repair weather damage. When the fountain is finished, the town would possess more than an object. It would possess people capable of making the next one. That may be the best measure of a civic commission. Did the project leave behind skill? Did anyone learn to work with difficult material? Did a young artist discover that public service and beauty can inhabit the same hand? A living visual culture requires a local workshop. Sculptors must know metalworkers. Architects must speak with ornamental designers before the building has already become a glass box. Historical societies should bring records and stories. Churches can preserve symbols. Veterans can explain the difference between commemoration and decoration. Local businesses can become patrons rather than sponsors, whose logos appear like small toll booths around the base. Residents who meet the makers will understand the work differently. They may watch a face emerge from stone over several months. They may recognize clay drawn from nearby ground or patterns taken from an old church window. The distance between artist and public closes one chisel mark at a time. The artist also changes. Serving shared memory demands humility. He cannot treat the community as raw material for his private expression. He must listen without becoming a clerk. He must bring judgment without contempt. He must shape what residents know dimly into a form they can recognize and hand forward. This is a demanding vocation. It requires more than self-expression. It asks the artist to become a steward of memory. Then comes the hardest question. What deserves a monument? A town cannot honor everything. Stone demands hierarchy. Bronze implies duration. A monument that refuses judgment becomes decoration, usually decoration devoted to movement, connection, or another noun that has survived too many grant applications. Communities must decide whom they wish to remember. The decision will bring conflict because honor is never neutral. A founder may have been brave and cruel. A battle may carry victory for one family and grief for another. An industry may have built the town while poisoning its river. These tensions belong within public memory. A serious monument can carry gratitude and sorrow together. It need not flatten history into innocence. Avoiding the dispute does not remove power. It hands power to those who write the guidelines. From an Orthodox Christian and Paleo-conservative view, civic art should grant visible honor to inherited faith, sacrifice, duty, local custom, and the dead. This does not require turning every traffic circle into a catechism lesson. It requires admitting that public beauty grows from reverence. A society embarrassed by reverence soon finds itself commissioning sculptures devoted to circulation patterns. The medieval market cross joined economic life to sacred order. The war memorial joined private grief to public gratitude. The guild chapel joined craftsmanship to prayer. Each placed ordinary life within a story larger than appetite. Modern civic art often fears that larger story. It retreats into abstraction because abstraction appears neutral. There is no neutral public square. A place either remembers or forgets. It either invites belonging or trains detachment. It either presents worthy examples or leaves advertising to supply the city's heroes. Once commercial images claim every wall, the citizen learns that the only figures permitted to tower above him are products, entertainers, and people paid to appear pleased while holding a telephone. The monument question reaches beyond taste. It asks whether a people believes it has received anything worth preserving. It asks whether the dead may place a claim upon the living. It asks whether children should inherit stories before an algorithm learns to sell them preferences. A culture with no answer will still build. It will pour concrete, bolt down steel, and issue press releases. Human beings cannot escape symbols. We can only choose whether our symbols arise from memory or procurement. Return to the traffic circle. The orange plates still lean above the concrete. Rain has streaked the paint. A faded banner on a nearby lamppost announces the town's centennial, though nothing in the sculpture reveals what happened during those 100 years. Suppose the city began again. Perhaps the traffic circle should hold a stone fountain carved with the local river and the plant that once covered its banks. The names of the town's founders might appear around the basin, joined by an inscription honoring the workers who built its first bridge. Perhaps a bronze figure from regional history belongs there. Perhaps glazed tiles could portray the migrations, industries, battles, churches, and families that formed the place. An established craftsman could lead local apprentices in making it. The design should survive weather. Its inscriptions should remain legible. A damaged piece should be repairable by someone who lives within driving distance. Maintenance should enter the commission from the first sketch, since a monument covered in mildew eventually commemorates the Parks Department's budget. Most of all, the work should reward attention. A driver may see its outline while passing. A pedestrian may notice the carved river. A child may discover a small emblem near the base and ask what it means. An older resident may answer. Perhaps the emblem belongs to a vanished mill. Perhaps it recalls a flood when neighbors carried families from their homes. Perhaps it marks the flower placed on soldiers' graves each spring. The exchange lasts 30 seconds. Yet within those 30 seconds, the work has succeeded. Stone has prompted memory. Memory has crossed a generation. The public square has become a place of transmission. Ordinary people do not hate public art. They resent being ordered to admire objects that show no interest in their ancestors, their work, their losses, or their home. Give them workmanship. Give them depth. Give them recognizable honor. Let beauty rise from the ground beneath their feet. Then the square may become theirs again. The Chow keeps one finger upon the carved emblem. The older resident bends closer and begins the story. A grand world awaits.